Hello, this is Unit 4. Again, we discuss equations and inequalities. In these lessons, we will discuss exploring inequalities and how to solve inequalities. First, what is the inequality? Inequality is a mathematical sentence that contains greater than, smaller than, greater than or equal, smaller than or equal, which means that one side of an inequality is greater than the other side or equal, such as x is greater than -5, m is smaller than 9, x is smaller than -8, and x is greater than or equal 1. Now let's try to find an inequality from this picture. The sign shows the speed limits of a road in kilometers per hour. Record all speeds that are acceptable to drive on the road. Now, if the speed limit is 40, you can't get higher than the 40. So 38 is smaller, so it can't be. 50 is greater than 40, so we can't choose it. 30 is acceptable. 40 is also acceptable. 43 is greater than 40, and 49 is also greater than 40, so it's not acceptable. Again, in this sign, show the sale prices of some clothes on a sale rack. Use the sign to determine the prices you might accept to pay from an item. Record all prices that apply. First, this sign says that the sale is starting at 150.99 pounds. So 140.99 is not included in the sale. 180.99 is included. 150.49 is smaller than 150.99, so it's not included. D, 290.99 is greater, so it's included. 120 is smaller, so it's not included. 150.99 is the same as the sign, so it's also included. In this exercise, the sign shows the height limits for an amusement park ride. In A, we need to list 3 acceptable heights. The sign shows that any height after 107 centimeters is acceptable, and any height before 107 is not acceptable. Now, to list 3 acceptable heights, we need to write 3 numbers greater than 107, such as 120, 150, 185. Of course, any number greater than 107 is correct. In B, we want to list 3 unacceptable heights for a person to be able to ride the roller coaster. So we must write 3 numbers smaller than 107, such as 105, 95, 102. Of course, any number is smaller than 107 is also unacceptable. So it will be correct. In this exercise, the sign shows that the weight limits for vehicles stowed or stored on a ramp and the vehicle transiting across the ramp. The sign said that the total weight of vehicles stowed on the ramp shall not exceed 47,000 kilograms, but the vehicles transiting on the ramp shall not exceed 24,500 kilograms. Now, let's suppose in A, 3 vehicles are stowed on the ramp at the same time. What are some possible weights of the 3? Now, the sum of the 3 weights must not exceed 47,000. So the answer may be 17,000, 18,000, 22,000. Notice that any 3 numbers, their sum not exceed 47,000 will be correct. In B, let's suppose that 3 vehicles are traveling across the bridge. What are some possible weights of these 3 vehicles? Any number will be correct in one condition, that its weight not exceed 24,500, such as 21,000, 15,965, 22,898. Notice again that your answers may vary. Let's try to represent inequalities on the number line. For example, x is greater than -1. In this inequality, x may be equal any number greater than -1. So on the number line, we must represent any number on the right of -1, because numbers on the right of -1 is greater than -1. So solution set include 0, 1, 2, and any number greater than. Now, does -1 belong to the solution set? Obviously no, because -1 not included in the inequality. But in the next inequality, x is smaller than or equal -6, solution set must include any number smaller than -6 and also -6. So we will represent -6 on the solution set on the number line. We will plot -6 and all numbers to the left of -6, because all numbers to the left of -6 are smaller than -6. Again, does -6 belong to the solution set? Obviously yes, because it's included in the inequality. Now let's try to solve the next comparisons. In the first comparison, we want to record each true statements about the graphs of x is greater than -2 and x is smaller than -2. First, in A, -2 belongs to the solution set of each of them. This is not correct because -2 is not included in both inequalities. B, -2 belongs to the solution set of only one of them. Again, this is not correct. We just say that -2 is not included in any of the two inequalities. C, the inequality x is greater than -2 includes all values to the left of -2 on the number line. This is also not correct because all values to the left of -2 on the number line are smaller than, not greater than -2. D, the inequality x is smaller than -2 includes all values to the right of -2 on the number line. This is also not correct because all values to the right of -2 on the number line are greater than -2, and these values will not satisfy the inequality x smaller than -2. E, they have no points in common. Of course, this is correct because when we graph the two inequalities, there will be no points in common. In the second comparison, we want to record each true statements about the graphs x is greater than -2 and x is greater than or equal -2 on the number line. Let's start. -2 belongs to the solution set of each of them. This is not correct. G, -2 belongs to the solution set of only one of them. This is correct because in the inequality x is greater than or equal -2, -2 is included in the inequality, so it will be belongs to the solution set.